Good Monday morning of the 10th. It's the 10th week of the year. It's post-Pentecost, okay? Well, I'm 2 weeks ahead for doing these, okay? So we're in the what they call the ordinary time of the year, okay? So we've just completed the entire Easter cycle, okay? Actually, we've gone from Lent all the way to Pentecost. And now we resume again the ordinary time of the year in the church, okay? And what's very interesting about it, for whatever it may be worth, is that the ordinary time of the year celebrates quietly the holiness of the ordinary, everyday living, you see? Lent brings out the penitential aspect of life in anticipation of the Good Friday story, you see? That's the heart and soul of the faith, okay? And, of course, Easter, the Ascension, and Pentecost, the birth of the church, the full flowering of the faith, okay? However, it has to get lived. And the church does that. Liturgically, she separates the great events, Lent, Easter, Pentecost, Ascension, and Pentecost, okay? She separates them liturgically. It's only a singular event, which is the great story of Christ's death and resurrection and the birth of the church. In St. John's Gospel, it occurs on Good Friday. The church is born out of the side of Christ on Good Friday. See? Water and blood flows from his side. He's triumphant. See? Water and blood, you could argue, baptism and martyrdom. Given the time that John's writing in 90 AD, 95, whenever it is, by then the apostles are all been dead. They're all killed. They've all been martyred. He has seen the price of discipleship with a vengeance, okay? You see? And he's realizing the church is born not only in baptism, but in martyrdom. The imitatio Christi, the imitation of Christ on Good Friday. Okay? And so the ordinary time of the year is ordinary, but it's sacred in its ordinariness. And so you see the various virtues and gifts that are part of the Christian life being exercised, okay, throughout the year, the next 22 weeks, okay? You see, and that neat, isn't it? By the way, as a personal note, you notice this doesn't quite look like the usual background. Well, it's not, because I'm in Branford, Connecticut, and this is the rectory of St. Mary's Church, St. John Bosco Parish, St. Mary's Church. I've been coming here for about 35 years. Usually on Christmas time, at that time of year, but I came here the last couple of days of May, because I was in New York for their Passionist meeting, the meeting of my community, okay? And I wanted to come and, of course, visit my family, but also to celebrate liturgically the events of the past year. We lost 3 members of our family. My cousin Camille's husband, Jim, died in November, and my sister-in-law Carol's sister Nancy died in January, and my cousin Harry just died in, I believe it was in early March. That's Camille's brother. Camille took a very heavy hit, lost both her husband and her brother. So this was the only time I could do it. So tomorrow or Sunday or whatever, you've got to see how it is. Today is Saturday right now. I'm sitting here on a Saturday morning making the videos, and then celebrate their passage and the celebration of our family, as it were, the ordinariness of life made sacred through the death and resurrection of Christ. You see, the ordinariness. We lived our lives together as family, and we share in each other's deaths, as it were. That's the story here, okay? So anyway, I'm here in Branford, upstairs on the 3rd floor, making these videos because I forgot to do them before. I should have done them yesterday. I thought, oh my God, I got to do those videos. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. And first today, to show you, it's Matthew's Gospel. The whole week is Matthew, okay? And Matthew's Gospel is very interesting. It's the 5th chapter, and it's going to be the continuance of the 5th chapter. And he's giving you the blueprint of Christian living. And what does he start with? The Beatitudes. In Matthew's Gospel, when Christ gives the Beatitudes, is the corresponding, he's the new Moses of giving the 10 Commandments. You see, as Moses was given the 10 Commandments, And he gives them to the Israelite people, to the Jewish people, the Hebrews, and we are heirs to that. We never forfeit that thought. The Ten Commandments are the minimal conditions of human civility. Be blunt about it, okay? If you start violating the Big Ten, holy moly, Andy. But you see in the Beatitudes, the calling by Christ to live the Christ-like life. And it goes way, way, way beyond the Ten Commandments. These are not the minimal conditions of human civility. These are the maximum conditions of imitating Christ and the Christian life, which is called, we are not called to survival. We are called to heroism. And the same heroism of Christ. To be a true Christian believer, one has to exercise those virtues that Christ exercised, including the cross. And I read it to you. He says, blessed are the poor in spirit, the reign of God is there. Poor in spirit, the humble of heart, as it were. You see? Blessed are those who are sorrowing. That's us. Boy, that's me today and this week. They shall be consoled. How are they consoled? In the hope of a paradise together. See? In the resurrection, ascension of Christ. We together with him, you see? Blessed are the lowly. They'll inherit the land. The quintessential opposite of the arrogance of power. Who will possess the land? The lowly, the poor, you see? Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for holiness. They'll be filled. See? Blessed are they who show mercy. Boy, this is a huge, huge beatitude. Blessed are they who show mercy, because they will receive mercy. Blessed will be theirs. Blessed, see? Mercy shall be theirs. Blessed are the single-hearted. They shall see God. The pure of heart. That's another way of putting it. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers. They'll be called sons of God. Blessed are those, see, watch him the crescendo here. Blessed are those persecuted for holiness' sake. Persecuted. The reign of God is there. So even in Matthew's time, in Jerusalem is where he was preaching and writing. Persecution was real. Blessed are you when they insult you and persecute and utter every kind of slander against you because of me. The Christian church must have been taking a shellacking at that time. Be glad and rejoice. Your reward in heaven will be great. For they persecuted the prophets before you in the same way. See? The Beatitudes are not a promise of a benign life, but a challenge to a transcendent excellence, including the imitation of Christ on Good Friday. Okay? We may have to die for what we believe. If I were to apply it to our own times, I doubt any of us will die in a bloody manner, like a martyrdom, although certain parts of the world is certainly true. Africa is very true, and I think parts of Asia. If you're a Christian, you're a sitting duck. You could get martyred very easily. This is true in Africa. But there's other forms of martyrdom. There's the martyrdom of exclusion and ridicule. And I think what we're facing in Europe and in the Western world is the demise, the end of Christianity as a culture. And now what we're having as we secularize ever more radically, to be a Christian is going to take an enormous act of will. We're going to have to choose to be Christian. We have to choose to believe, because we're going to be in an environment that will reject it. That'll see it as foolish. It won't attack it. It might, but more often than not, it will show it as it will treat it with ridicule. It takes a lot of courage. It'll take a lot of courage to believe in the future in this country and in Europe. I mean that too. Are you going to see the Beatitudes lived? Yeah. Cultural Christianity is dying fast, but maybe real Christianity is being born. As it was born on the side of Christ. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all when the Romans drove his lance into the side of Christ. That wasn't fun. We may be facing something of similar way. I think our children and grandchildren for sure.